And we're live. Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Nugent here with Dr. Ken Williams. Also joining us as co-host is Alex Green and Alex Laniak. Um, but first, roll the intro.
Hey everybody, Hogs Twins here.
Hey, do you live in Irvine, Orange County, California? You better be listening to Mark Nugent.
Yeah, you better be watching Mark Nugent Live for his political updates regarding Orange County, the school board, the city, the county congressional races.
Yeah, he's gonna make Orange County great again.
Yeah. Hey everybody.
Our country and state are in a fiscal crisis. We need more jobs and less regulation in California by the state government. Ken Williams is running for re-election for the Orange County Board of Education. Under Ken's leadership, the Orange County Department of Education has been at the forefront of job training programs through our county ROP programs. We have created opportunities for students in high school, college, and even adults to obtain additional training and certification in specialty fields. Under Ken's education leadership, the Orange County Board of Education has championed parental rights and opposed special interest groups, created more job training programs, built a county deaf school at University High School in Irvine, established a school at the Los Alamitos military base for high-risk youth who would otherwise be incarcerated in our jail system. Ken is running for re-election to represent the district's priorities and values and would appreciate your vote.
And we're back. Usually I start off with the usual getting to know you, guests talk about while we share the stream and get it viral. This time is unique. I'm 100% biased as I've endorsed you and already voted for you. And I think I was going to throw up my picture of my ballot here. Where is it? There you go. So you can see on the screen, Dr. Ken Williams. Hold on. Oh, wrong screen. Okay, sorry about that. So that's what they see right now. So I already voted for you. So this is 100% biased. So
Nice.
that's a picture I took it before I came here this evening. And I'm going to drive over and drop it off at the voter registrar's office tonight. So
Thank you, Mark.
that's what they're seeing right now.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so and I encourage everyone else to vote for you as well. And because I care about our kids and our parents' rights.
Sure.
That's why I'm supporting you. Clearly the best, hands down. Usually I'm very neutral, but usually I don't even talk about this stuff. But I've sometimes you got to take a stand. And we already have a comment. That's awesome. So as you see, I'll put on the big screen right there.
Okay.
So Ben Chapman already says, re-elect Dr. Ken Williams. So as things go on, I'm going to pull up the comments. There's another one from Jeffrey Barkey. It says, hi, Mark, Ken, Mary, and Jeff in the house.
Hey, Mark.
So
How you doing, Jeff?
So
Mari.
the way we do it now is we go through a series of questions, and as the questions line up, if appropriate, I might interject an audience question.
Sure.
But definitely get to all the questions in the end.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I usually don't talk about your challengers either.
Okay.
But yeah, he couldn't get my job with $100 million. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, so that's the intro to the segment here about a Michael Bloomberg like of Orange County trying to buy a political seat.
Well, the county isn't for sale, thankfully.
That's right.
We have a good board of supervisors. And on that note, vote for Don Wagner as well.
Absolutely.
And
John Morlock.
So, Dr. Williams, can you tell us a little about yourself? Please take an extra few minutes, like we discussed earlier, and encourage our co-hosts and our audience. Please share the live stream as Dr. Williams talks about. Tell us a little bit about himself.
Sure, it's my pleasure, and thank you for again hosting this, Mark. I'm a first-generation American. My parents immigrated from the British island of Newfoundland, and also from that British Isle in England. And I was born here in Orange County, raised here in Orange County. Went to Newport Mesa Unified School District schools, went to Tewinkle Junior High, Adams School, went to Estancia High School, and then from there I went off to UC Irvine. And I finished my undergraduate training, and from there, then I went to medical school, went out to the Western University, which is out there in Pomona, California. Completed that 4 years later, and then did my primary care residency and started professional medical practice in 1986. I've been blessed to have 3 incredible young men. My boys are Christopher. He is a school teacher. He and his family are now up at Federal Way in this good state of Washington. They have 4 children. Then I have my middle son, who is a deputy district attorney here under Todd Spitzer, and they have 2 beautiful kids. So that's a total of 6 grandchildren so far. And then my last son, Scotty, he is the West Point graduate and just finished his tour of duty with the U.S. Army as a rank of captain. And he and his wife live there in San Antonio. She is a urology resident. She also went to West Point, and Army put her through medical school, and now she's a urology resident at Fort Sam there in San Antonio. So I'm here in Orange County. I've always been here. Started practice in 1986. I'm on staff at 3 different hospitals: Children's Hospital of Orange County, St. Joseph's Hospital in Orange, and Hoag Hospital here, both in the Irvine and Newport campus. And the big story, though, that I'm sure that we want to focus on is, how did I get involved in public policy? How did I get involved in the issues that support and strengthen the family? Well, that started way back in the 1970s. I'm a product of Chuck Smith and Calvary Chapel and James Dobson. James Dobson in the 80s was a child psychologist from USC. He had a radio program. He talked about the importance of children and families in a life. And as a young, impressionable college student, he played a significant role in forming my ethos, forming the values that define me as a human being. So later on, after being in private practice, Bill Clinton took office, and Jocelyn Elders was his Secretary of Health. And there were some radical concepts and issues that she wanted to introduce into the public school system. And so with James Dobson, he had a physician group there that we got together, and we met a couple times, and we went out to tell the truth about sexually transmitted diseases. Then HIV was not around, but certainly syphilis and gonorrhea and all the other STDs were in play and significantly impacted young adults and adolescents. So we started with that, and then Bill Clinton also introduced a radical healthcare plan, much like Bernie Sanders has talked about healthcare nationally, Medicare for all. So I worked with the American Conservative Union, and the American Conservative Union, we went nationwide to fight this Hillary Clinton healthcare program. And it didn't last very long. There wasn't much support there in Congress. I think it was really turly. And one of the problems about a universal health care program run by a government is that it will soon be like the DMV or the post office. Health care can never be more personal than when you're in the exam room with your physician and you're telling him about your problems, your health concerns, your complaints. And there should be no one else that should be allowed to make a patient care decision other than that doctor and that patient. Unfortunately, with these government type run Medicare for all, Bernie Sanders like programs, they will ruin medicine in its totality. So that's how I got involved in the 90s with that. And afterwards, then we had this great Citron bankruptcy in Orange County, and John Morlock played a great role in that, in discovering it and telling people about it. Robert Citron was I believe, the county treasurer at that time, and he made some fatal errors, and John Morlock and him were engaged in this race for the Orange County treasurer. John lost, but shortly thereafter, the truth came out, and I believe Robert Citron went to jail for a little bit for his malfeasance as an administrator and public official. So about that time, that's when the Orange County Board of Education, one of the trustees in the area that I live in, he voted to put money and invest in the Citron investment policy. And I ran and I won. That was back in 1996.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So now I've been on the board for 24 years. I first ran on the premise that the primary purpose of education was to guard the innocence of children and to uphold the rights of parents. And an important part of that also is transmitting from one generation to the next important facts and information that allows that next generation to be successful. It's passing that baton, if you want to use that picture allegory. And to do education properly, you need to inculcate facts and knowledge. You have to impart skill sets such as phonemic awareness, advanced scientific knowledge, basic reading, writing, and arithmetic skills, and introduce our kids to a very challenging and rigorous academic content. Unfortunately, with the advent, fast forward now 20 years, we had Common Core that was introduced, and we saw a significant reduction in the rigorous academic content. So if you look at the historically disadvantaged minority communities, they're forever negatively impacted, and it's going to take them decades to catch up with a community such as Mission Viejo or Irvine here in Orange County.
Okay. Awesome. That's okay if I cut you off?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
No problem at all.
We'll do it side by side.
Sure.
So we have a lot of well-wishers. So I want to warm it up here and just put some nice comments. I see the comments coming across my screen.
Okay.
So let me throw some up as you grab some water. So we have someone saying, definitely the best man for the job. He will support our kids first. Cindy says, hi, Mark. Thank you for voting for Dr. Williams. So those are up there. So
nice.
That one. And then you have Jeffrey. How is the county board different local school boards? And I'll come right back to that question. That's actually one of my questions.
That's an important question too.
Oh, I'm going to ask it too. And then we have Tyler Cash says, Ken has +2 votes for my household, mine as well.
Oh, God bless him.
Another one, we need to reelect Dr. Ken Williams to continue to be our voice for parental rights, school choice, and protecting innocence of our children. Then
thank you, Jade.
Kristen says, got 3 votes. So if you're watching this, please fill out the ballot that I know the ballots are sitting right now next to you on the kitchen table. Fill them out, vote for Dr. Williams, and go, turn them in. So
awesome.
And then we got Alex Laniak says, go ahead and re-elect Dr. Ken Williams. So we got a bunch of those. And
thank you, Alex.
Then we have about 100 people watching live. So
okay.
We're also going live. Republican Thinker has a few 100,000 followers.
Okay.
So we got quite the audience here.
Oh, awesome.
One of the admins shared it, so it's going to have quite the traction this evening.
Awesome.
Okay, so first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for doing this. Most elected politicians, they're too afraid to do live streams. They're not going to do questions in real time. They just don't. You'll see one, they're amazing on the stage with the microphone, but the minute they ask real questions, they're kind of, so thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. I'll do my best. I probably will fumble through a few things.
That's okay. I have a bunch of questions, of course. I just want to, you kind of went into the policy questions a little bit that I'll hit later, but I like hearing a real doctor, not a PhD, but a medical surgeon say about the truth about medical government healthcare.
So in the golden years of medicine, when I started back in the late 80s, the traditional relationship between the physician and the patient was a very hallowed relationship. And it was one that was never trampled upon or never interfered with by any outside entity. It was well recognized that the private conversations that occurred in that private exam room was between the physician and the patient. And the physician, if he didn't know the answer, he would refer the patient out. The Hippocratic Oath is the central core of us as physicians. At least for me, it certainly is. And the Hippocratic Oath says basically, never do any harm and do what's in the best interests of the patient. And so I take that Hippocratic Oath and I take that and I transition it to my role as a trustee for the Orange County Department of Education. I always think about what is in the best interest of those children, what is in the best interest of those parents. How can I guard the innocence of these children and inculcate facts and knowledge so they can use analytical skill sets and knowledge and reasoning to become successful adults, to go on to further academic endeavors in college and postgraduate school, and also that includes professional schools. So,
Okay. I just adjusted the sound. Hope it's okay for you. Is it good sound quality?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Okay. We don't have any big sponsors, so this is all out of my pocket, believe it or not. Also, thank you for touching on Common Core later on.
Okay.
That thing is universally hated.
Yes, yes, it was met with a lot of resistance back there about 4 to 5 years ago. We had a county board of education, two series of professionals and experts that came and talked about Common Core and how it would hurt the historically disadvantaged minority groups as well as the middle class. The upper class, those kids, those families, they will always send their kids to private schools and have private tutors. But for the average individual, for the average kid in Orange County, they are adversely impacted by the lower education standards. And in fact, here in Irvine, there's a group of parents in Northwood here. I got together with them about a month ago, and they talked about how the science-based curriculum is not rigorous enough, and they're very unhappy. They've been to the school board many times, and they are very frustrated, and a lot of them said that they'd have to pull their kids out of school and transfer them to Crean Lutheran or one of the other private schools. And that would be terrible. I mean, we want public schools to be successful. The only problem with public schools that is occurring now is that the government mandated curriculums, this radical anti-parent, radical sex education programs are very antithetical to the culture, to the religious convictions of many parents. And when I say religious, I'm not being exclusive. I'm including everybody from people of Jewish faith, Muslim faith, Christian faith, Buddhist, whatever, it doesn't matter. The government mandated programs are changing the culture. They're changing the values of the parents within the home. And they even go further by excluding the parents and their rights to direct the upbringing of their children. And that is what is so important to me, that I will take the political risks, take the political hits, because it talks about in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Those unalienable rights, Mark, come from who? From God, don't they? So if God gives you the right as parents to direct the upbringing of your child, and then a government official, somebody in Sacramento writes a law and says that you no longer have that right,
Excuse me.
that is something that I don't accept. And I think most parents, I haven't talked to any parent, both from a Democrat, Republican, left or right, or wherever you are politically in your ideology, no parent has ever wanted to give away their rights.
Oh, I agree 100%.
To direct the upbringing of their children. And that's what we're seeing that's happening here.
I've seen it experienced firsthand. Staff think they're the parents. They think they own the children. I've experienced that with my own daughter in high school.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at the impact of bureaucracy, I have often referred to them as educrats. They're educational administrators, and they believe they have far greater rights and influence on your children than the parents. And it's terrible, it's shameful, and it shouldn't happen. And unfortunately, that's the way public education is going. And I'm trying to save public education, get it back to the way it was, where parents were in control.
Okay. Also, before as we go into this, usually I ask, what's your website, what area you're running for? You're running for Area 3, so let's go ahead and pull that up on the map, so people can see that, and I'll spread it here. So that's what they're looking at. If you can talk us through the boundaries of your district.
Sure. So we have 5 districts within the county here, and they pretty much run in alignment with the Orange County supervisors. There may be a few streets differences, but pretty much my district includes a little bit of Fullerton, but primarily Brea, Yorba Linda, coming down through Placentia, Orange, a little bit there, North Tussin, unincorporated part of the county. And then it loops down into the largest and most influential city here in Irvine. And then, of course, to one of my more favorite cities, because I live here, Lake Forest. So it's a big district. It's represents over 1 million people. It is a congressional size district, very large. And right now, Don Wagner and I, we're running together, helping each other out, and we are running in the same cities.
Also, usually I ask, is there more you can learn about on the website? So I had it go ahead and pull up. They're looking at our screen now.
Okay.
So they're looking at your website.
Okay, they're looking at my ugly mug.
Yeah. So I usually ask the guests, where can they learn more? And I have the website preloaded. And if you guys want to learn more, it's Williams for OCBE.com.
Yeah, and that's FOR. So Williams, common spelling FOR, and then OCBE.com.
Okay. And I was getting a text message from the chair of a local group, and they said, make sure and change yourself and put yourself on the other side. They wanted, because they wanted you next to your logo.
Oh,
so I have a feeling somebody's doing a screenshot right now so they can promote you and tell people to vote for you.
Got it.
And our two co-hosts, feel free to interject anytime. Tell people vote for Ken Williams. This is supposed to be a little bit of a rah-rah here for Dr. Ken.
Okay, so we're going to get the two Alexes involved. How you guys doing? You like doing live radio?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's new.
Why are you doing it?
Oh, it's interesting. I don't get
Okay,
Mark's a good friend. We've done it before, and here to promote you.
You guys care about your community.
No.
You care about the people around you.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here. And that's why we are all in this, because we do care.
This one.
Working, messing with the camera. Yeah,
Put
but
it
also
down. Go ahead and
like on
put it
the
down.
education side.
But by the way, you have to tell people that we're in my house right now,
Yep.
in my office.
Yeah,
And it's
mobile studio.
It's so
Okay,
cool
good.
how you guys did this. I'm just really impressed.
Put it back.
So this is my private office. Hey, if you can show show a little bit behind
Right
me.
there. Okay.
I'm a mama's boy. So there's my mother to my right, and I'm a Army dad. Let me move aside here. As I shared with you, my son went to West Point and just finished his career in the U.S. Army. So I'm very proud of him. There is a picture of him graduating from West Point. Very, very proud of him. And then, of course, next to that, the books are purposeful. They are intentional. Remembering Ronald Reagan, who in my lifetime, he is, I tell you, I don't know if I can say he is better than Trump, but he's certainly a man who's influenced my public policy and governance principles. And then, of course, the other books are from William Bennett, the book Virtues.
Awesome.
And a couple important books there that really define who we are as a nation, defining us in our morals and our values and our culture and how we care for other people.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to make sure I do this right. Okay, hold on. Oh, wrong one. Okay, got you on the right side.
Okay.
John Park will be like, he'll be sending me text again and says, hey, put Dr. Williams on the correct side. So I got some more other questions, but kind of that one I know people are going to ask.
Okay.
And there's one I have. I'll go ahead and read it. What's the difference between of the county board and an Irvine
School board and local school board?
Yeah, because I live in Irvine.
Yeah. So that's a great question. What's the difference between the County Board of Education versus a local school board? So I like to, because not many people know that there's a County Board of Education. Let me give you a broader viewpoint. So there's like 52, 53 counties in California. And back in the 1800s, when California became an independent state, the schools were run by county supervisors in each one of the various 50 plus counties. And then as time began, we introduced county superintendents, we introduced county boards, and then as the population grew over the century, then we developed local school boards. So in Orange County, just like the county supervisors, we have programs that are very specific for the county. You brought up Irvine School Board. Irvine has within its city boundaries a lot of great schools, a lot of great programs, and they themselves have their own governance budget. From the county board of education or the county department, we have no oversight on any local school board. So they operate independently, just like a local city council. Local city council is not told how to operate or to govern themselves by the county supervisors. So we do have these independent established government entities, and we understand our purpose.
So, who holds school districts and school boards at the Irvine level, at city level, or who holds them accountable?
Well, for instance, if there was something that was wrong within Irvine Unified School District, it would be the school board trustees. And ultimately, it's going to be the voters who vote for the school trustees. So it does come back to the sovereignty of the people who elect their representatives.
Okay. So what if they get in trouble? Is they're still they stay there?
Great question. So now the question is one of appeals. What happens if a kid?
I thought like the electeds, they get in trouble because a lot of people want to hold the school district accountable. They don't like certain things they want changed.
Okay. So maybe I'm having a little challenge understanding your.
Oh no, I'm just saying. What
question.
is if let's hypothetically an elected does something bad?
Okay,
and
so,
they abuse something like that.
Right. So obviously, if it's of criminal nature, you take it to the district attorney, and then there's individual prosecution. Now, if it's more maladministration, something stupid or offensive, now the sovereignty of the people, they do have the ability to recall. Their elected leaders.
Okay. All right. I got a bunch of policy questions. I want to do some more get to know you conversation starters.
Sure.
First off, you are a real doctor. You are a surgeon.
I am a physician and surgeon. My original training was in primary care. I was in primary care medicine for approximately 25 plus years. I still do a little primary care. Once you're a primary care doc, you're always a primary care doc. You always think about those general medical issues, and we understand enough to make us dangerous. The most important thing is that we understand that we need to get specialists when the disease entity is out of our reach and out of our pay grade.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, that you're a real doctor.
Yeah.
Because we meet so many doctors.
Yeah.
And they're not real medical doctors, and you are. So I just wanted to make that distinction.
So they have a paper degree that allows them to say that they're doctors, but they're not a real physician and surgeon.
Yeah, I just had some other notes I wanted to read to you.
Sure.
This is sincere, and I want to make sure I read it to you. I think it's amazing, and I really do appreciate your dedication to lifelong education and helping others. I want to add, because you're a medical doctor, and it must be a financial sacrifice for you to serve on the Board of Education. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, you can ask my wife that question. She'll be here too long talking about. Yes, there's a great amount of sacrifice in public office, no matter where you go. And whatever you do, there's a great amount of stress, pressures upon family, impact upon your emotional well-being. But, we do it. Dr. Jeff Barkey, who is my hero, he was on the Los Alamitos School Board, and he was sharing with me his struggles, his challenges. And there's nothing more important than a father, a leader, taking a role in their community and making decisions for their schools and helping parents be better parents. And so that's what I look like, what I'm doing. My purpose and intention is to empower parents and to inculcate facts and knowledge and allow kids to be smarter, better, and brighter and move up the educational and economic ladders of life.
Okay. So I'm going to skip ahead. I think you answered a bunch of my questions already. So
ahead of the game.
Yeah. When a guests do their, let's put it back on split screen. When guests do their intro, they actually already answer a bunch of my questions, like what motivates you to be on the school board.
Sure.
I have some basic, conversation starters, and then we kind of just see where it goes from there.
Absolutely.
So
this is fun.
Yeah. No, you got a bunch of cool questions here and comments I'm going to put in the screen here in a minute. But I wanted to kind of blow through my questions. And if you're watching the audience, please type up your questions for Dr. Ken Williams. And our co-hosts from OCC College Republicans are here. And
Yahoo! Good to be here.
Yeah, make sure you vote. And go ahead and fill out that ballot right now. I know it's sitting on the kitchen table because I know mine is too, because I took a picture of it tonight and I brought it in. Well, actually, I didn't bring the ballot in. I left the kitchen table. But there you go. So that's who I voted for. I'm biased 100% because I believe that's the best person for the job.
Yahoo!
There you go. Um, I think you already covered all my questions, so I'm like trying to read through my questions list here. Okay, here's one. How often does the Orange County Board of Education meet?
So traditionally, we meet at least once a month. We may meet a second time a month in an emergency meeting or an urgent meeting. If I can clarify some of the earlier questions that we began to get into, the County Board of Education serves as an appeal board for the county. So even though we don't tell, nor do we have the duties and the powers to dictate to individual school districts how they implement education, we are an appeal board. So if a student is expelled from the school and they want to appeal that, they can come to the County Board of Education, and we have the ability to reverse that. If they want to transfer to a different school district or to a different school, they have that right in the state education code to appeal to the County Board of Education. Most importantly, and we may transition into this topic about parental choice in choosing their child's education.
Yep, we got those questions.
Charter schools. So,
Yep,
so that's the main thing that we do right now is we're passing all these great charter schools, the very strong charter schools.
Yeah, those are definitely going to be on my screen right now, and 100% we're gonna put them up.
Okay.
Okay, so feel free to take a drink. I put the camera on me 100%.
Okay.
So take a drink.
Awesome.
This is a very general question. What are some of the challenges you face as a board member?
The biggest challenge we face is sorting through all of these various programs that the state and federal government have that they want to give grants and monies to. One of the biggest contentions of my own policy is that the federal government has mandated about 40% of how we spend our money. And yet on the average over the past couple decades since this federal government mandate, they only pay about 40% of that. So that means a lot of the money in the general fund that's supposed to go to the child's education goes towards actually fulfilling the federal government's mandated role and requirements. So that is a big struggle. From a state government perspective, we struggle with the very liberal elitists from Sacramento that feel that they know how to govern everybody in the state of California, including giving parental values and telling parents what to do and what to say. So I think that's an overreach by government. That's not the role of a government. A good government is a limited government that empowers its people to make decisions, taxes them less, and makes us be more independent rather than what they want us to be. They want us to be dependent. We need to be more independent.
Okay, so some elected told me they have been approached by friends and supporters to run for higher office, myself included, but they rather stay local. Do you have any plans to run for a higher office?
You know, when I first entered into public office back in 1990s, I thought I wanted to run for Congress. At that time, that's when the Hillary healthcare plan was introduced. Now, fortunately, that battle Hillary lost after only about a year and a half. So the opening occurred for me to run locally. And I've been very satisfied for the last 24 years being able to be there for my children growing up. You know, I was their soccer coach, their baseball coach. I was there for every single practice, every single game. I thoroughly enjoyed the role of being a father and raising my kids. So, you know, the question is, what am I going to do after this? Well, I don't really have any plans to run for higher office. I don't anticipate running for higher office. I love what I do as a physician. We sort of mentioned that my original training was in primary care, but I've been very blessed in the last 12 years to retrain as a hair and scalp physician and surgeon, and I provide hair transplantation, skill sets, knowledge, and diagnostic testing for patients.
I feel like this is a setup for me. I mean, would I be a patient?
Okay, so Mark, let's talk about your hair loss. You need to get on a couple medications. One of them would be Rogaine, the other would be on finasteride. You need to decrease the dihydrotestosterone that's circulating in your body because that's what's miniaturizing your follicles. So that's the first thing you need to do, because otherwise you're going to be looking like what we call Norwood 7. You're not going to have any hair, and you're going to be shaving your head.
I thought it'd be okay if you shave your head if you look like The Rock, then you're okay. Just like you got the muscles. Otherwise, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Dwayne Johnson, he's quite an athlete. So I used to have less hair than you did, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not afraid to tell people. I've had 5 transplantation procedures over the last 13 years.
You get a lot of hair.
Yeah. No, I'm very blessed. If people look at your head, I actually had less hair.
There you guys go.
I actually had less hair than you did 13 years ago, and so and that's what I love doing. I mean, I give confidence back to men and women. The biggest challenge is a woman with hair loss because. For like us guys, if we lose hair, we shave it off, right?
Yeah, I'm more worried about the gray. The baldness doesn't bother me.
Is the gray bother
Well,
you?
I'm kind of a little bit coming in. I'm 41 now, so.
Well, let's get you on some
push off
Rogaine.
midlife crisis.
So let me complete that thought about female hair
Yeah.
loss, because that is the biggest challenge, and that's what I get to do, and then help these women who come in with hair loss disorders, and we're able to diagnose and treat and give them back that hair density. Again, for guys, and if we lose hair, it's not a confidence boosting experience, but for a woman to lose hair, it's emotionally devastating. The other group is, of course, the 15-16-year-old male that comes in who's very depressed because they're losing hair. So those are the two patient population groups that I love to take care of and help, and I'm pretty successful. So I have a lot of satisfaction when I do in life, and so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I got some more. The screen's back on me too, if you wanted to take a sip of water. So there you go.
Okay.
Before I go back to split screen, you keep answering all my questions ahead of time.
Is that good or bad?
No, it's good.
Okay.
I just hope the audience hurry up and fills up with questions.
Okay.
But some are the same. The questions I already have written down for you.
Okay.
So I'll put it back on split screen for you. There we go. So anyway, I was military 20 years, and I do miss that.
Thank you for serving, by the way.
Thank you for your support.
You're in the Army. You're a captain, right?
Yeah, I was 20 years in the Army. But
That's awesome.
This is about you. This was a lead into a question about you,
Okay.
because a lot of people don't know you're also a sheriff's deputy.
Yeah. So after 9/11, back there in 2001, I actually was going to quit medical practice, join the medical corps, and I wanted to go to the Middle East to support our troops and to help them. And I was a little upset about over 3,000 Americans that were innocent Americans that were killed that day.
Okay.
And so I wanted to just do something about that. Now, I did have a mortgage. I had a young medical practice. I had 3 young children at that time. So it was a little hard for me just to pick up and move my family and do everything. So what I did was the next best thing to protect my community. And that was I joined the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and I actually went through the training. You can do it on a part-time basis. And so I did it on a part-time basis over about 2 to 3 years. And I graduated with a California Post Basic Academy certificate. I can go full-time and be a law enforcement officer in any agency. So I'm with the Orange County Sheriff's Department now. It's been a real blessing. I've met some really incredible people there. We have the best and the most professional law enforcement organization by far anywhere. I was on the SWAT team as a SWAT tactical physician for 10 years, and I've retired and from that. And so now I'm just going what we call 10-8, which is cop talk for just doing unusual patrol.
Awesome. Yeah, the first time I met you, you were in uniform.
Oh, was I really?
Yeah, we had talked. People had connected us, wanted us to do this. And we were at Orange Unified School District when we were trying to get the Classical Academy charter through. You were outside, and you were in your uniform. You came in to say hi.
We just had training that day.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, wow, this guy's a doctor, father. You got West Point kids and a school board member. I was like, when do you sleep?
Yeah. So to be technical, that was training uniform. And
Okay.
It was just a black shirt and tactical.
But you were in uniform. I recognized it.
Yeah, you recognize it, yeah. But technically, we can't be when we're off duty on uniform. So.
Okay, so I'm going into a little more policy questions now.
Okay.
So I put it on me and put a little split screen. And people have been asking this. If you hear maybe mute it, you might hear it pops on my screen.
Okay.
Can you explain to someone unfamiliar what the difference is between a charter school, public school, private school, and any other types of K through 12 schools?
Okay, so to begin, charter schools are public schools. Charter schools are very special institutions that are developed and created because of unique individuals, unique leaders who want to create a learning environment for kids that are different than the traditional brick and mortar school that we have. So parents should care. That's Dr. Barkey. He's my dear friend. So a charter school is a special school. Parents are involved. The charter leaders typically put the parents first, and the parents have a greater say-so in the role of the education of their kids. A private school, there are lots of good private schools. There's non-religious schools, and there are, of course, Christian schools. There are good Catholic schools around, Lutheran schools. And then, of course, there's the traditional public school, and that is where one of the greatest concerns that we have, or I have, in that the decline of public education has occurred because of the standards that have been established by lawmakers in Sacramento to lower those standards. No longer is education a locally controlled process. When you start having the federal government and Sacramento making laws and passing them down to local school boards, telling them how to govern themselves, telling them how to educate their kids, there's trouble brewing. It's not a good recipe for success. I think the closer you are to your government locally, the better off your community and schools will be. So Sacramento and Washington, D.C., they're making the wrong rules. They're making bad decisions and laws that we have to follow.
Okay. I have a follow-up to the charter school. A lot of people do not like Common Core. I've literally never – I walked 10,000 doors in Irvine. Mm-hmm. Not one person ever liked it.
Right.
Is a charter school a workaround for people and parents that don't want
right.
Common Core?
So the one unique aspect about charter schools that I love to brag about is that they created a new learning environment. These are very unique learning environments. It's not a one-size-fit-all type of curriculum. It's not a one-size-fit-all experience for the kids. These charter schools, and let me talk about one that I just absolutely am excited about, and that's called the Orange County Classical Academy, started by two of my dear friends, Dr. Barkey and Mark Bucher. And it was passed and approved by the Orange Unified School District approximately 1 to 2 months ago. And I'm very happy to announce that they are going to be opening this fall. So if you go to the website, you can start signing them up. But this school, what makes it so unique, Mark?
It's on the screen now.
Oh, okay.
I pulled it up. So this is the website.
Awesome. Yeah, let's give a plug there for Orange County Classical Academy. This is in a sponsorship with Hillsdale College from Michigan.
Awesome. Can you tell us more? Okay, let's click the About button.
Yeah. So anyway, Hillsdale College, Larry Arnn is the current president there. This school does not take any federal funds. It is totally private in its orientation and in its funding, and they don't give a hoot what the federal government tells them to do because they're independent thinking and they're not dependent upon any federal funds. So this is a classical education in the classical sense that the education occurs in different time periods. They're introducing the basics in the first period, and then in the second period of education, which is usually around 4th, 5th, 6th grade, they add a layer of knowledge and analytical skills and debate skills, and so you keep on adding to this base of central skill sets for education. And there's nothing wrong with memorization. There's nothing wrong with penmanship. Those are things that are very important. And unfortunately, they're lost. Good old-fashioned Latin, which is the basic root for all of the English language, is also a part of that curriculum there. So that's what is exciting about the Orange County Classical Academy that will start again this fall.
Might give you some feedback from our audience. They're giving lots of hearts and thumbs up when you start talking about the classical education curriculum. So
right.
Moms, right now, the mother of my child is giving tons of thumbs and hearts because she really is interested in this and she would love to send her son to this.
Yeah, could you imagine that you're now in school and the primary purpose of that school is to inculcate facts and knowledge and skill sets that are based upon parental cultural values of your community and not any influence by Sacramento or Washington, D.C. There's nothing more important than a parent having the primary influence in their child's education. Yeah, you go to school and you get the books and you get the school plan and you get the homework, but now the parents are involved in playing a central role in their children's lives. And that's what makes families stronger. You know, I'm a family doctor, right? I know what it takes to have a good, strong family. It takes a father who's dedicated to the process of being a dad to the kids and loving his wife. And going to work every day and supplying their needs. That's what makes a strong community, is those strong families that follow that. Unfortunately, we have, now we may be getting off in the tangents, but you look at the Latino community, the African American community, where the father is absent, and they play very little, if no role. Those kids struggle with being in criminal adjudication systems, incarcerated. And when you look at the Latino and African American families, when they have a father that's involved, those kids climb the economic ladders. They become the success stories of America.
That's awesome. Okay, so we got some comments from the audience. We're going to break into the policy formal questions I got for you, but we'll take some audience comments, might make you feel good. Some Kristen says, thank you for being pro school choice, pro charter, and listening to the voice of parents.
Oh, well, thank you, Kristen. Yeah, that's the essence of my character and my whole purpose.
She also says, re-elect Dr. Ken Williams. So if you're at home, fill out your ballot. Then Shannon Duffy says, best or favorite doctor ever.
Okay, I got to say a few things about Shannon Shell.
Okay.
The Shell family, Shannon and her husband Tom, when I was a primary care physician, I love this family. She was one of the best moms. Tom was a great dad. Talking about the nuclear family that now has 2 kids that are climbing the educational and economic ladders of life. Just remarkable. The Shell family. I was blessed to have them as patients.
Okay, we got another one. Thank you for standing up for parents and using common sense.
The common sense isn't too common out there anymore, huh?
See,
thank you, Michelle.
A lot of people are nervous when they come on to a live stream with me, thinking that there will be people, saying bad things. But almost always it's things like this all day long.
Well, I'm used to people attacking me. This campaign has been so negative.
Well, you're not getting any attacks now. You're getting nothing but support and love.
I'm getting a lot of love.
Yeah, and we're, I guarantee you've already passed 1,000 people watching us just by the numbers across my screen.
Well, this is fun.
So Shannon says, thank you. So thankful for your service, Dr. Williams.
Oh, God bless you, Shannon.
Then you want to read this one, Alex Laniak?
Yeah. I didn't really know when to interject, so.
No, it's actually good. Let me just move the camera to you. Okay, you're on the screen.
Let me pull it up really quick. Hopefully my phone doesn't die.
In plain terms, for students and people who have never heard of the Board of Education, how does your decisions affect students' education? Why should people care about re-electing you?
That's a great question, Alex. So the Board of Education is the trustees for the County Department of Education. And the county department acts like a centralized service for the entire county, schools, school districts, and trustees and superintendent. So, what we do is important, and the decisions that we make are important. We have our own children in our system. We have a homeschooling program, which is really pretty cool because it's free public education, and parents get to be the homeschooling parent, mom and dad. That's a great program. We also have a program that I personally took as an initiative over 20 years ago with the Los Alamitos shared joint facilities there in Los Alamitos. We started a program for high-risk and adjudicated kids. So these are kids that have been in the criminal justice system, and they go before the judge in the juvenile court, and the judge says you can go to jail or you can go to this really tough-ass military boot camp-like environment, and you're going to get your high school degree. You make the choice. And oftentimes these kids who have been in trouble, have not been focused, lack discipline and purpose, They go to this and they're under attack. You know what it's like being in basic boot camp, right? I mean, you have a tactical officer, a sergeant level person who is responsible for you. And it is a boot camp, and these kids have a rigid day. They sleep there, they eat there, and they get educated there. And what is unique and fun about this is the success stories that we get from the school as these kids are going to four-year colleges. They've changed from a life of crime, and now they're productive citizens. They're going to college. They have jobs. They have their high school education, and so that's exciting. That's one of the cool things we get to do. And of course, the other cool thing that probably is really far more important is approving those charter schools which were denied at the local school board level. So let me kind of explain that. So typically, a charter school will go to the local school board for approval. And the process is very involved. It's very detailed, and it's a very challenging effort to get a charter school approved. And there's a lot of politics that play a role in here. Let's be honest with that. The CTA, which is the teachers union, and the other unions, they don't like competition. And that's what charter schools do. They're providing competition. And so what happens is we get to approve all these incredible charter schools that were denied at the local level. We now we've approved. We have not approved some because they truly were weak programs, and they weren't quite ready for the big time, if I can use that term. And so we have rejected a handful, but by far we have approved over 16, 18 charter schools in the last 6 to 8 years. My former colleague on the board, Linda Lindholm, when she came on, we finally got a conservative pro-charter majority, and so we were approving these great charters. We have a great charter that's going to come on board. I predict this next week here. It's the Orange County School of the Arts. And so they're going to be they're going to be leaving their original approving school district, and they want to move over with the county because I think it's more consistent with the purpose of the Orange County School of Arts. There is that it's a county program, so they're going to come with us, and that's an incredible school.
Let me put that on the screen, see if it's the right one. Is that website? That's it. Okay, so that's what you're talking about right now.
Oh yeah, these kids are incredible. It's about 2,000 kids that are in here, and by the way, the teachers here are unionized, which is very unique. Ralph Opasek, who is a key leader in this, he is such a leader that he's created these opportunities for these very talented kids to rise into Hollywood, into Broadway, into film, art, music, opera, dance. It's
Where's
amazing.
I just had a question. Where is this school located at?
Okay, so this school is located there on Main Street, actually, in Santa Ana. Okay. They've been around for 20 years. They were originally with Los Alamitos, but they outgrew that. And about 20 years ago, they actually were going to come to the Orange County Department of Education 20 years ago. But I was only a two-member of conservatives, and so we didn't have that third member to bring them on in.
Sounds like a good deal for kids, this thing.
Oh, that school is so incredible. When you walk on the campus there, Mark, the spirit of these kids, the enthusiasm, it's very palpable. I mean, it's very visceral. You walk on and you just can't help but to fall in love with the school. It's an incredible school.
Okay. I just want to put that back up again for people that might just be joining us so they know that you're talking about this school. So they're seeing this view right here.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got tons of other questions, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, let me put it back on the split screen. Okay. So what was the next one? This one is going to come up. And I know this definitely we knew this one was pop up. Kristen asks, this is, of course, one of my questions I already had going on. What can we do as parents to opt out of the new sex education happening in our public schools in OC?
Okay, great question, Kristen. And let me try to answer it as simply as I can. So to begin, we're talking about the California Healthy Youth Act that was passed in 2016. It was mandated to take effect the end of 2000 or the beginning of 2019, and this is the onerous, government-laden, mandated program that has 3 phases to it. The first phase begins in kindergarten. The second phase begins in junior high school, and the final phase of it is in high school. And it is a series of indoctrination of values that are contrary to the values of anybody of religious faith or Muslim faith, Jewish faith. It doesn't matter who you are. It's antithetical in talking about issues that are age and content inappropriate. And specifically in kindergarten, this is where a lot of the controversy exists, is that in kindergarten, the recommended curriculum is to introduce the subject material of sexual orientation and gender identity to kindergartners. Now, I think that's terrible. I think that's a terrible law. It is something that parents need to take their kids out of. Unfortunately, the way the law reads, and this is where, when we start talking about parental rights, parents can't remove their kids from these areas and discussion. So this is a very Orwellian, very political. It's all about political correctness. And again, there are kids who struggle with gender dysphoria and their sexual identity. But they don't start at 5 years of age. It starts a lot later. But that's the secular religious indoctrination that occurs in kindergarten here.
Now, the charter schools, are they required the same rules, or can a charter school create a charter that says parents have to opt in? Is that possible in a charter?
So, great question. It's a very detailed question that we learned from our public forum that we had about a year ago at the County Department of Education, where we had specialists come in and talk about it. The particular sexual education curriculums, there's 2 types. There's the prevention model, and there's what we call comprehensive sex education model, and they're very different. And the comprehensive sex education curriculums that are promoted by like Planned Parenthood or the ACLU or the CTA, that is a very radical concept of our sexuality as human beings. And that is one of the reasons why, the question was just asked, you should remove your kids from these curriculums, from these classes. Parents need to be involved. They need to know when these classes are being taught. Because you do have the right to remove on the very controversial scientific academic part of it. But on the sexual orientation, gender identity, you cannot. That's the inculcation of government politically correct ideas.
Okay, I have
you cannot opt out of.
I have a follow-up question. What you're saying that
Okay.
might fit. Is the school district or the schools required at all to notify parents that they're going to teach this sex ed?
So what we're seeing, the great controversy is that parents want to know. They're asking questions now because now's the implementation phase. And we're seeing all these parents, and I receive a lot of questions from parents. What can I do? And so now that the implementation phase is being done, we're seeing all the controversial aspects of it come to life. We're seeing that kids are now being exposed to how to have sex. And we're talking about, it's mandated in 7th grade. And if you look at some of these more radical comprehensive sex education programs, it's not only telling them options on how to have sex, but it's very pornographic that there's no way that I can repeat some of the words and some of these curriculums, how they describe how to have sexual intimacy with somebody of the same or opposite sex. It's very controversial. And I predict that if it continues, it's going to lead to the downfall of public education because parents aren't going to put up with this.
No, I agree. It's been very controversial. In Irvine, I've trying to put it back on split screen. Okay, I've had parents come to me because they wanted me to run for school board because they didn't like this. This is a big issue in the Asian community. And also, when we finish up this topic, I want to cover integrated science because a lot of people in Irvine are angry about that.
Right.
And I bet you can get a lot of votes right now if you were to agree with them. But
Okay.
but we'll finish up on the sex ed part.
Right. So I don't know if we completed the conversation on the California Healthy Youth Act.
Go ahead, by all means.
Because it is by far one of the most controversial programs that I've seen in my 24 years. And I'm talking about, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of these educational fads, whether they're from the state government or from the federal government. I've been through Goals 2000 and under Bill Clinton, School to Work under Bush, No Child Left Behind. By Bush Jr., and then of course the Common Core, that was an Obama directive educational program. So I've seen a lot, hundreds of millions of dollars lost and spent on and wasted on these programs. But by far, this particular program is the most intimate and personally connected to parents because it removes their right to direct the upbringing of children. And it's a direct intrusion of government into the lives of families. And I believe it's going to have to be challenged from a constitutional perspective. I'm not sure who's going to do it. But if public schools are going to survive, this law needs to go away. Now, I'm not saying that those kids who have gender dysphoria should be ignored. I think kids who struggle with their sexuality, I'm absolutely for safe schools and anti-bullying programs. As a law enforcement official, I don't allow anyone to be physically attacked, and bullying emotionally, I think, is just as significant as a physical assault upon a person. So I'm talking about kids, though, that do struggle with this. They should have individual attention. They should have individual programs, and they need to have individual assistance. But to make that applicable to every single family and children, to expose kids to the concept of secular version of sexual orientation, gender identity as early as kindergarten is absolutely an anathema and antithetical to the American existence.
Yep, I agree. It's a lot of parents have contacted me. That's one of the first questions I usually get, because I'm running for a lower school board. One of the first questions I get is, what's your opinion on that? And my answer is, it's the parent's choice. It's the parent's rights. I always respect that.
Right. And the question was earlier asked, can parents opt in and are they notified? The problem is that parents are not notified.
That's why I brought it up.
And when they try to find out information, oftentimes the school is not giving the information. I think the program should be an opt-in, where they need to ask parents to sign a piece of paper saying their kids can become involved in this program. That is more American in concept.
I agree.
Where you're giving options to parents. So if somebody wants I would never have my kids at 5 years of age being introduced to those topics. It's just way too young. But if we have parents opt in, that's more fair. That's more American, more consistent with the values and freedoms that we have as Americans. But right now, the biggest concern I see is parents are not being told what's happening here. And we can get into this, the school-based clinics that Planned Parenthood wants to put in every single junior high and high school in the state.
If you'd like to, go ahead and cover it now.
You want me to cover that now? Yeah. So now we're getting into this ideology that is a secular religion of sexual orientation and gender identity. And this is becoming a very strong political movement. And I'm not saying anything negative towards anybody in the LGBT community, because I have lots of gay patients. I take care of them. I do surgery on them. I love them, and they love me. My close employee is gay, and I love him like a son. I take care of him.
I imagined you mentioned earlier females with hair loss. You would have transgenders with hair loss, right? So that'd be your patients.
I put beards on those patients, and So I do surgery, and I care very much for this community. But I'm attacked because I take the choice of parents first. These kids, these high-risk kids, they need special care, they need special attention, and we're doing that at the County Department of Education.
Okay. Can I interject about getting you votes real quick?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No, you won my wife over. She says, I want my son, leave his name out of it, to enroll there in OCSA.
Absolutely.
So
Orange County Classical Academy.
So you have lots of moms right now looking up the schools you're talking about. So
I'm going to predict, by the way, Mark, that classical academy, it's going to be in Orange. It's in the central part of Orange there. That is going to be the first campus that Hillsdale College will be assembling. And I predict, because they have headmasters. Can you understand what a headmaster is? I mean, do you ever hear of that? That is such a traditional academic term, that somebody is a head, and that goes to the classical approach to education. And I predict that this academy is going to be opening up several campuses in Orange County. That's how successful. That's what schools
Can we
should
get
be.
one in Irvine?
Well, we'll have to ask the principals who are involved. I'm sure they will. They're just getting started this year, so it'll be a K through 5, then and then it'll grow to a K8, and eventually become a K12.
As you're speaking now, I'm showing the viewers the website.
Oh, okay, that's Orange County School of the Arts.
Yeah, that's what she was talking about.
No, the Orange County Classical Academy.
Okay, that's the this one.
OCC. Yeah,
OCCA.
Yeah.
Because
That's it.
you discussed 2 schools. First, we talked about OCCA, and then you talked about this one.
Right. That's the Orange County School of the Arts. So this is the Orange County Classical Academy.
Well, we can get one of each.
Yeah, I mean, let's open some more of these great charter schools. The CTA and the unions don't like that concept and idea, and that's why they've funded my opposition and opponents for the last 24 years. But fortunately, this is a great community that I get to represent. The people in it I love, and I feel their warmth. I feel their charity and grace that they give to me, and I'm very blessed to represent them.
Yeah, I'm just going through the website and allowing the viewers kind of take a look. And again, you can look orangecountyclassicalacademy.org if you guys want to check it out yourself.
Yeah, can you imagine? Okay, so these kids are going to be reading about Aristotle, Plato, Shakespeare. I mean, this is Greek stories. I mean, this is the type of education that makes great communities, which makes a great nation. So I'm enthusiastic about that academy. It's not under the County Department of Education. It's under the Orange Unified School District.
We got a great question from Jenny Marie, and this is something near dear to my heart. Can a child who has an IEP attend either that school?
Yes, and of course that is a state law. So IEPs are because it is a public school. A charter school is a public school. A child within the IEP can attend. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't tell you when one of the groups that I have is a forum for special education, and I usually don't put the political live streams in there, but because of your position for Orange County, Board of Education, I shared it, and that's probably where Jenny's commenting from.
Oh, okay.
Because this software is kind of an aggregate of it being shared everywhere. So I get comments and questions from multiple platforms all across my screen.
Okay, I can't see your screen.
Yeah, if you were to lean over, you just see some comments. But
okay.
And that can put Jenny's up there. So
sure.
And the IEP moms are suffering, and that's something I want to address. And
so these kids who need that extra help, the kids with whether it's mental health or it's a very severely disabling physical problem, whether it's an autistic spectrum type of issue, whether it's a learning disability, dyslexia, these kids need a little bit of extra help, and so they're going to get a little bit better care, I think, in a charter school. It's not. You can either go to Walmart or you can go to Saks Fifth Avenue or Nordstrom's, and I think people like getting the personal service that they get from Nordstrom's rather than what may not occur at Walmart. So I like thinking of these charter schools as service oriented. They take care of parents. The parents and the children are their focus. They are the customers. You just don't quite get that in your typical brick and mortar public school.
Yeah, it's hit and miss sometimes, but we have some good ones. It's
absolutely
place
because teachers are what make the classroom. Yep. Those teachers who really love and care about what they do, their passion. I'm so pro teacher. I have a very heavy heart because they're taking money out of their own pocketbooks to pay for some of the education materials that they have to use to teach. I think that's not right. But these teachers are what make a school. Now, the leadership at the administration from the principal plays a key role also. But sometimes we have leaderships and administrators that don't look at the student or the family as the customer.
Awesome. Okay. So did you want to move on to some other topics, or you want to talk about more charter stuff?
Yeah, if there are any charter questions,
I've got a question.
yes, sir.
So back in high school, so I'm pretty young, so I was in high school pretty recently.
How old are you again?
I'm
Alex?
21.
21.
So I
You're
graduated in
young.
2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went through the IB program. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
International Baccalaureate
Yeah.
program.
So I went through
Awesome
that.
program.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it, and it was weird because I was not a great student,
Uh-huh.
but I was still able to go through it.
Were you
And I
challenged?
thought- yeah, for sure.
They kicked your butt, didn't they?
Yeah, I was more focused on athletics, which is why I didn't do so well. But I got a 5 on my biology and some other
Awesome.
tests. I got some good scores. But yeah, like, what is your stance on I guess like the AP and the IB and stuff, and how do you feel about it? Because I mean, for me personally, it was a great experience, but I know some people, didn't.
Yeah, so the advanced placement courses, there's kids now that can get college credit for being in high school. I mean, that's been established for a long, long time. Those are great programs for kids so they can get some college credits. Then we have GATE programs for those exceptional kids that have higher IQs and who are very talented intellectually and solving calculus-related questions at 5 years of age. Those are the Einsteins. Those are the kids that need a little bit different type of program. So those GATE programs are important. The National Baccalaureate program, that really is not. We have 2 great programs. One is out of Troy High School there in Fullerton, and the other one is out of Placentia, Linda. They have a great International Baccalaureate program that is exceptional too. And these programs really challenge these kids and they prepare them for college. And I'm really proud of those programs actually, because they are, I think, charter-like in that their orientation is to service the families and children that are there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a great amount of enthusiasm for these programs, and obviously you benefit. What did you play? Football?
No, I did rowing.
You did rowing in
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah, I was very competitive at it.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, that was my sport.
Where
So
did you guys practice?
down in Newport Harbor.
Okay.
Right on PCH. Is our
Okay,
boathouse.
out of the OCC boathouse.
Next door to the Chapman Boathouse is where our program was at. But I
Okay.
did row out of OCC over the summers. And
Did you really?
every Saturday we used to practice with OCC.
Man, you
Yeah.
got to be tough to do that.
Yeah, it was fun.
That rowing is hard physically.
I got your Facebook pulled up if you want to show your rowing stuff.
Oh, no.
Okay. Look at my screen. You can see.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like the only pictures I have is my
No, we
rowing
got to show it.
pictures.
I mean, that's
Oh, you can if you want.
yeah,
Okay.
it makes it interesting.
There you
That's
go.
pretty much it. Yeah, that was our reunion row we did back in Long Beach year after I
Where'd
graduated.
you guys compete?
That was in Long Beach, but sea-based rowing is where I rowed out of. We competed all over the place. I mean, we went to Canada.
Really?
Yeah, in Toronto for 3 years in a row we went.
Wow.
Yeah, that was me back in high school. That was at Youth Nationals.
Wait, so you did that in high school? That's amazing. I didn't know that they had that program.
Yeah, that's me and my twin brother actually rowing together.
That is cool.
'Cause we all had to shave our heads.
That's you?
Yeah,
You
I
look
hated it because I was a lightweight, so I was always upset because I couldn't eat. Because I had to be a certain weight class, so I was always not super happy. But yeah,
You look different without the hair.
yeah. But yeah, the IB program was really, really cool. And doing the 2-year experience where you have to, come up with a thesis and with an essay, and that was really, really interesting. But it was weird because my brother was all in APs and in normal classes.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Why do you do that? Like, it's so stupid. It's extra work."
It's extra
know?
work and it makes you a better person.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it a lot. I just wanted to hear kind of your opinion on it.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that experience defined you in your humanity and as an adult, and it gave you great insight into what it takes to be successful.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for that.
Yeah, definitely the late nights and it's due at 11:59. I need to hurry up.
Uh-huh.
So hearing about you go to IB actually made me think about some of the classes, some of the stuff that I did in my high school experience. So for me, I didn't do IB or AP or anything like that. But I did at Tribuco they had like an engineering program.
Oh,
Right?
did they really?
Yeah. I had to deal with stuff like oh man, it was like sketching and drawing, and then we come up with like concepts and designs, and then it even went into like 3D printing and stuff like that. And we would learn stuff like AutoCAD and SolidWorks, and then we had a really good teacher, a really good guy who cared about his students. And we even went to some places like some field trips like the Haas CNC factory that's over in, I think, Anaheim or somewhere in North County. We just see like how CNC works and that kind of stuff. I say all this because one of the things that our school didn't have, it was actually cut a couple of years before I went, was like workshops. I know that kind of like district wide, a lot of like workshop programs, a lot of like extracurricular programs were kind of like being cut. You know, programs that weren't kind of, I guess, geared towards making kids go to college.
Right.
You know, so I was wondering what your thoughts on that were.
So that's an excellent lead-in question to my thoughts on traditional education with workshop, like woodshop. I mean, that was critical to me when I went through junior high school, because that gave me experiences and knowledge that I would otherwise not have. And you know, one of the problems that we've seen in education is that there has been this lurch in the direction that everybody has to go to college, and that college degree is the most important thing in the world, and that's going to give you success. The reality is that college degree, if it's in something that is not directing you to more advanced educational opportunities like dental school, law school, pharmacy school, whatever it is, that college degree is only going to educate you to be a barista at Starbucks. And I love my Starbucks and my barista. I know them all locally. They're great people, but that's a temporary job for them. The job skills that we need, and this is what is something that's important to me, Mark, is the regional occupational programs for trade schools. You know, becoming a plumber and electrician, I mean, you're going to make pretty good income, and you're going to be making more than perhaps a school teacher with these great skill sets, knowledge, and training programs that are out there. So, you know, going to college is not for everybody. I mean, my cousin is an electrician, union trained, and he's making twice as much money as I'm making as a physician. You know, money isn't everything in life, but what you love and do is important. So yeah, you ask and make a good point. These trade schools, woodshop type classes are very important. And
yeah, because for me growing up, especially with a lot of my friends, we thought like we had two routes: either go to college or join the military. Right. That's kind of like going out of high school. That's like what we pretty much had. And there's a lot of good trade schools. There's a lot of good there's a lot of good certificates you can get just at a community college.
Absolutely.
So I don't think there's enough emphasis on that. You know, it's pretty much geared towards the colleges, like you said.
You know, I always think of when we have this conversation with people about Charlie Kirk. He doesn't even have a college degree. That guy is one of the smartest dudes I know. He's young, excited, and his skill sets in arguing for conservative causes and conservative ideas and concepts is just incredible. I just think that so very highly of Charlie. I'd love to meet him someday.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay.
I'm old enough to be his father, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
You look pretty good. Maybe it's the hair.
Yeah, it's the hair transplantation. It makes me younger looking.
Okay, so this will get you some votes in Irvine.
Okay.
100% know it, because they're very, very angry parents about integrated science. And I'd like to add, my next comment was, my wife was very excited that I was going to get a chance to interview you and wanted me to ask about how much and what we can do about, of course, we already come to Common Core.
Right.
But integrated science specifically, there is a very large group in the Asian community in Irvine.
In Northwood.
Yeah, Northwood. They start a petition trying to remove the principal. They're protesting. And they're going to ask how we get rid of integrated science to go back to the old way. That's probably the question.
So for those Northwood parents who are listening, first of all, let me validate everything that they expressed to me, their concerns. They have worked very hard to try and get a more challenging science curriculum there at that school. I did talk to the superintendent about this, tried calling the school board members about this. And unfortunately, they're not going to budge on that issue. And I mean, I feel for them. I'm sorry for those families. So what a lot of them are going to end up by doing is taking their kid and leaving school.
Okay, you said the school board is not going to do anything to to get rid-
I've tried. I talked to the superintendent about this.
Yeah, Terry Walker. Yeah.
Terry Walker, very nice guy, and he gave me his background and his side of the story. And then I expressed to him that that's not going to make this group of parents very happy, because they want more challenging science for their children. They want a more challenging curriculum.
So, if I understand you correctly, this can be fixed at the Irvine School Board level.
Exactly.
So, wow, really?
Oh yeah.
So all we got to do is get some new school board members in there, and you can get rid of integrated science.
I mean, that's why we have elections. We look at
Vote
this.
Mark Nugent.
Vote
Nugent.
Mark
Now,
Nugent.
my election. Hold on, my election's for a long time. This is about Dr. Ken Williams. But I want the Irvine people and the Northwood parents to vote for Dr. Ken Williams, because he's going to support me, and we're going to get rid of the integrated science. That's going to happen.
And you're going to make a much more challenging curriculum alternative for those children that are there, because we want the Irvine schools to remain great. It's just that this is what I kind of hinted at very early on when we started. It is a government employee, a educrat or administrator, that believes he has the power to control the upbringing of children, and that his perspective, his understanding of who he is far greater and superior than the rights and the knowledge of the parents. And this is wrong. And we see that at the Orange County Department of Education, where administrators feel they know much better than what parents know as far as how to raise their kids. And it's absolutely unfortunate, because they are there to serve their customers, which are the students and the families.
So I had a question come across my text message. They asked, is it all or nothing Tuesday for the election, right?
Okay, yeah. For my election, it's whoever gets the most votes. And can I give a little bit of background?
Please do. I'm trying to get you elected here. I want the whole purpose.
Okay, so this is my seventh campaign. I was very successful, very blessed to have won the previous 6 campaigns. This is the most challenging one, because the individual who I'm running against has put in $780,000 of his own money. I can only put about $15,000 of my own money into this, and then that doesn't include the unions, the Planned Parenthood, the CTA, and everyone else who's supporting him. So he's going to spend over $1 million. I'm being outspent 10 to 1. Wow. And so it's a real big challenge here. So yeah, it's whoever gets the most votes Tuesday. And I really thank those people who voted, but let's get the word out, because it's amazing how many people haven't turned in their ballots, and it's important and critical to getting a good turnout of good conservatives to vote for people like myself, and Don Wagner, Stephen Choi, and John Morlock.
I'm just putting my ballot up there. That's who you guys need to vote for.
And what year was your first election?
Probably before you were born. 1996 was when I was elected.
Wow. Yeah.
Just made it.
When were you born now?
98.
98, yeah.
Well, you're top of the ballot. That's good. So I'll just put it on me while you take a quick break. You've been talking for a while. But I just want to stress to Irvine parents, if you want to get rid of integrated science, vote for Dr. Williams. We will work towards that. That's a picture of my ballot. I literally took it an hour before I drove over here to do this live stream. So.
And going back just really quick to talking about trade schools and vocational studies, is there any programs right now that go towards like electrical or plumbing at each individual school level, or are they all kind of gone? Because I mean, my experience was the year I got into high school, freshman year, all of a sudden auto body was gone, and that was the last of it. And after that, they were all gone.
Before we answer that, could we go back to the integrated science? Did you have anything to finish on that? Because you said you went and talked to Terry Walker, the school board. They wouldn't do anything.
Well, yeah, I just don't think that from my conversations there's going to be anything done about that. So status quo will be there. As I shared with the with the parents when I met with them, I said, elections are important. The sovereignty of the people to elect their elected representatives is central to being an American. Now, the Asian community needs to be understanding of that fact. I know they all don't understand that they have a vote, and that vote is very important. So be persistent, become engaged. This is America. You have the right to be represented by the people you elect. So now to get to the question that you just asked, Alex, about these trade schools.
Yeah.
It used to be very central and important to the education system, having these other opportunities other than direct classroom or academic work. And these life skill training programs, whether it's becoming an electrician, pipe fitters, whatever it may be, they're very important to America. And unfortunately, we've had a education thought um, and principle that those are not important, and that the most important thing is a college education. And that's why now we're seeing all these kids going to college. The cost of college is out of sight. It's crazy how expensive it is. And it's because they're creating this demand. And so that's raising college tuition rates, the cost of education. And so now these kids are leaving college with $100,000, $200,000 worth of debt, and they're only getting jobs that are paying minimum wage. That's not a good thing. So I'm a strong supporter of these ROP, Regional Occupation Programs, from the Carls Perkins Grant that's been around for the past 40, 50 years. It originated after World War II. And we actually have a charter school with the County Department of Education that trains kids for the vocational workplace.
Yeah,
So-
no, because I work in solar and energy,
Uh-huh.
and as you know, with climate change, whether you believe it or not, or have
Mhm.
issues with it, it looks more and more like the grid's switching over to renewables and distributed generation. And for us, finding licensed electricians and even apprenticeship people, because we have our own GC license, we do all of our stuff. So finding people who have that skill and that knowledge base is getting pretty hard.
Very
Like,
hard.
very in demand, because all of a sudden we're switching over the entire grid from oil and natural gas to solar, wind, all this stuff. So it's for me, I see it every day when we try and book electrical crews to go out, and they're like, oh, we have another thing, we have to do this, you have to schedule that a week later or whatever it is.
Yeah, having a degree in ethnic studies in
Yeah.
sub-Saharan population groups is not going to get you that job. Oftentimes, we're seeing these young kids get these degrees in obscure areas of study, and it really doesn't prepare them for the workplace, and they don't have job skills for their future. They don't. So these are schools that I have always and will always vote for and support.
Awesome. Okay, we move on to the next ones if you guys want. Get any more questions? Okay. All right, questions from the audience? All right. So I got a bunch more questions to ask you there, Doctor.
Do we still have people listening to us?
We still have like a big 60 people.
Oh, we have 60 people?
Yeah, both 31 for that. We
Okay.
we have multiple platforms. So on my phone, I've got like another 20 showing here.
I see.
We have a bunch of watch parties all
Uh-huh.
over. So I guarantee you, we've already have 2,000 people watching.
Okay,
Just
we're not boring people.
No, believe it or not, you were much anticipated.
Oh, okay.
So, but if we're going over time,
Okay.
I've got plenty of time left, and I have some more questions.
Sure.
Some, here's some other ones. What are some of the policies you helped shape or create over the years? Can you walk us through the creation and implementation of OC Board of Education policy?
Yeah. So, I mean, the policies that we've created are very much to the structure of the board and our own board policies. That can be kind of boring.
Okay.
To talk about some of the more gratifying experiences and things that we have done on the board is to create this opportunity in the Los Alamitos for these adjudicated at-risk kids. We have also in Irvine at University High School, the county's only deaf school. So these kids who are hard of hearing or who are deaf with these physical challenges, they're integrated into a regular high school population group. And the success of that program is outstanding, and the satisfaction and the parents that say how happy they are is incredible. Then, of course, all of the different and varying charter schools that we have approved, they are just absolutely outstanding opportunities for parents to have a unique, free public education that's tailored to their child, that is different than the brick and mortar public education experience. So we've done some really good things. We were involved in the Common Core controversy, highlighting the weaknesses of Common Core that were derived from the Obama administration and the dumbing down of education. And then, of course, the latest thing that we did that I'm very proud about is bringing attention to the California Healthy Youth Act. Now, I don't call it the California Healthy Youth Act. I think it actually is California's Unhealthy Youth Act, because there's a lot of false and scientific information that is given. Not all of it is correct. I think it's age and content inappropriate. And so that is another one of the great endeavors that we've done there on the board.
Okay. Here's the one. Kind of says it seems like we're winding down here. What do parents need to know about the Orange County Board of Education? What do you want parents in the community as a whole to come away from our conversation today? And how can people stay engaged?
I think staying engaged is very, very important for parents if they do care about their children, because if they're not engaged and they're not fulfilling their roles as parents, their children are going to go on a path and a journey that will not be good. It'll be harmful to them. Parents have to be parents. They cannot look into themselves and only care about their own egos and self-esteem. They have to care about the self-esteem and confidence of their children. They have to give their all. They have to be willing to die for their children. That's our calling as parents. So, the take-home lesson here from all tonight is one that as parents we have the rights that we cannot abandon. They need to be central to who we are. We need to be defined by them. And we can never give up on our children. Never give up.
That's why I do what I do. We have a follow-up question. I don't know if you answered it, but I'll throw it up on the screen. Okay. Did we answer that question for David Kellogg? Was that already answered? Did we cover it?
Yeah, we're promoting vocational schools. We get Carl Perkins grants. Very, very important. And we do have the one charter school that I mentioned that just focuses on vocational skill sets.
Okay. I have some other finishing questions. We can go on as long as you want, but just want to get those knocked out. What are some of your upcoming campaign events? I know we only got 2 days left, but if you want to talk about it.
You're right. So there's not much to do. We will have an election night on Tuesday, March 3rd at 7:30 at the China Palace. So all of those individuals who want to be, I have worked so hard. I worked my butt off. This is the hardest campaign. I've walked so many precincts. I've contacted and talked to so many voters. I'm hoping I'm going to win. I'm praying to God that I'm win. I cannot let the individual who is opposing me win because he is a Planned Parenthood board member.
That's your next question, actually. I hate to interrupt you, sir.
That's okay.
Dr. Jeffrey Barkey says, Ken, please contrast your views with your opponents, what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm running against an individual who has a very different perspective on life. He believes in Planned Parenthood. He doesn't believe in religious freedoms. I'm being attacked because I'm a man of faith, because I go to church, because I do believe that we all are imperfect and we're saved by a Savior that covers our sins and gives us a peace about who we are. So he also wants to put school-based clinics in all of the junior and senior high schools. That's a part of Planned Parenthood's program.
Yeah.
Put these clinics in schools.
Yeah. Can I say something, Tony, just real quick? I don't mean to make it about me, but
okay. Yeah.
Well, the first time I ran in 2016, people don't know that if you promise to support their agenda, they give you money as a candidate.
Right.
Yeah. So
those are the unions.
Yeah.
And that is their program. So these school-based clinics that are being planned, and this kind of ties into the California Healthy Youth Act, and that's why this is a big deal. I mean, this is a big event that is a wake-up call to parents who don't know about this. But these school-based clinics, they will be identifying these kids who are gender dysphoric. And the California Teachers Association, we just found this out a couple weeks ago, they have as a policy now affirming that these kids who are gender dysphoric, and again, 80% of these kids who have gender dysphoria, they resolve it by the time they become adults. But these kids are going to be tracked into this system where they will be going to these school-based clinics. And again, this is what the California Teachers Association is promoting. And the rights of parents to know what's happening in these school-based clinics are removed from them. Wow. If you're a parent and you want to know what's happening to your child, and you're struggling with all the family dynamics and all the painful events and relationships that we have as families, we're not perfect as people, and there's a lot of challenges we have. But you as a parent should have the right to know what's happening to your child. But these schools and the districts, the administrators, they will not tell you anything. They can't even tell you why your kid went off campus, because that would violate their rights as children. And of course, this is a whole new concept of parents. We mean rights as children. Their rights are more than my rights as a parent. I can't direct their upbringing. I can't make decisions for their medical care. Well, that is what this policy is, this California Teachers Association policy. And we see this in other states. Actually, Tucker Carlson just had this on his show last night, where there was a law that said parents don't have the right to know what's happening in these school-based clinics. And we know that these kids, they can go get an abortion without the parents' knowledge. So these kids who are very confused and who have gender dysphoria, now you're excluding the parents from having a role in the decision-making of their lives. Wow. I mean, that is medical malpractice, in my opinion. That is going against the Hippocratic Oath, where when you graduate from medical school, you're going to say you can do the best for your patient, do no harm. That is wrong. That is medical malpractice. It certainly should not be institutionalized like Planned Parenthood and my opponent want. So I'm fighting that, and that's what my whole purpose is here.
So we a little over 90 minutes, and we have 4 other commercials to play for you.
Okay.
So
let's play them.
So let's play your commercials.
Okay.
You'll hear them.
Okay.
So we have clip 2, clip 3, and clip 4 and 5. So we're gonna watch back-to-back commercials. So
awesome.
Dr. Ken Williams. He cares about teachers, he cares about kids, he cares about parents, parents' rights, parents' choice, and about kids protecting their innocence and getting back to basics in education. I please urge you to vote for Dr. Ken Williams on March 3rd. Thank you.
So as I'm walking through St. Joseph's, it's a very hallowed place. It's a very sacred place here. You feel the presence of peace and God here. I just wanted to share this with you because so many people want to know who I am. I've been in office for 24 years, but who am I? What are my values? What do I believe in? And it's going to come down to three basic things: family, faith, and the freedoms that were given to us through the founding fathers and their vision of this great country, that city on the shining hill. And that's what makes us great. One of my core key values is the sanctity of life. The sanctity of life that defines us as human beings is so important. Do we care for the weak? Do we care for the important? Do we care for those people who don't have the riches of this world or the material goods? I do care for that. I do care for the sanctity of life. So I've been on staff here at St. Joseph's since about 1987, quite some time. And the hospital has served as my primary hospital for putting patients in and taking care of their medical problems. The Sisters of St. Joseph's are absolutely incredible people. You know, they're great businesswomen, but really, if you look at their heart and what they've done for the people of the community, providing care for the poor, it's just incredible and awesome. And I'm so blessed to be a part of that as a physician on staff here. So then, how should we live? What type of values do we take from this world and give it away to other people? Because that's what it really is all about. It's about the legacy we leave behind and given to others, that really, the things that God gave to us. One thing that I won't do, and I promise, is I'm not going to degrade the humanity of any person, even though politically they may be different than I am, and the values and beliefs that made me who I am. I want to respect and honor all humanity, all those who are in this world. We may disagree on public policy and politics, but I will never be mean-spirited, and I will always be quite charitable in my words and the things I say. I will tell the truth, but always charitable.
So as I'm walking around here at St. Joseph's Hospital and concluding this little piece on me, hopefully it reveals a lot of my heart, of my great charity for mankind, no matter who you are. I mean, God loves us. And if God loves you, I gotta love you, and that's who I am. I do lots of medical missionary work, and that's because of God's love and that He's put in my heart. So I want to thank you just for watching this and for you getting to know me a little bit better. Lots of bad things are being said, but they're all false and rumors and very misleading and just plain lies. Thank you again. This is Dr. Ken Williams. Vote for me on March 3rd. I would greatly appreciate that. Take care. Bye-bye. So hi, this is Dr. Ken Williams. I'm just here at Chalk talking about the things that are really important to me. And one of the things that are very important is, of course, the mental well-being of our kids. That has always been a passion of mine as a physician, primary care physician. And I care very much for those kids who are at risk and who have those issues, psychosocial issues, emotional issues. That's very important to me. So again, as you get to know me, that's who I am. I just care about people. I'm a physician by training, and I do what is in the best interests of children. So one of the issues that I'm concerned about is the well-being of our children. As a family physician, I've been in medicine now since 1986 for about 34 years. My passion is for the healing of children, and that includes emotional, mental well-being. That includes obviously any medical condition. I've seen too many kids being hurt out there, and one of the things I want to do is to make a difference, and by making their lives better. I've been on staff here at Children's Hospital of Orange County for about 25 years, a little time, and it's been a great pleasure. I've served as the family practice chairman in the past, and I still get to come over here. I'm here at one of our medical staff lectures here today at this beautiful hospital. It truly is a beautiful hospital. So anyway, just a little bit about what's happening today. I'm going to be doing some precinct walking, kind of give you an update. There's a lot of things happening in the campaign, and I want you to get to know those issues and values that mean much to me. God bless you.
And we're back. So, Dr. Ken Williams, I will give you the last word, then we'll say goodbye to the audience and pack up our studio.
Well, thank you, Mark. This has been a great opportunity, and just thank you for setting this up and doing this. I think it was a great experience for me. I really enjoyed it. Let me first thank my family for being here.
I don't want to, one of your voters, I just want to get, I hate to interrupt you, sir, but you have a question right there from Jenny Marie.
Jenny Marie, thoughts on SB 276, where kids are having medical exemption from doctors who will no longer attend public school. Oh, I think this question has to do with vaccinations
or medical freedom.
I'm not so sure.
Okay,
but I think.
Oh, how about this, Jenny? How about you send a message to Dr. Ken Williams and he'll answer it. So I'll remind him after the broadcast.
This has nothing to do with the education, but it's more medical.
Yeah, it's more medical. So let's Jenny, how about you send a direct question and I'll remind him to answer it. So sorry, go ahead, your last questions. I just want to acknowledge that you're willing to take questions from the audience.
Sure, absolutely. So let me just first, again, thank you as I shared with you, and thank my family, my mom and dad, who I'm intimately involved in their lives, my 3 kids, my wife, Cindy, my grandchildren. They have made me who I am, and I thank you just for the opportunity, for loving me, giving grace and charity. And to the people that are out there who are voting, I thank you for your vote. I truly appreciate it, and hopefully I can make a difference and help your family, your child, and make education much better for them.
Appreciate those last words. Okay, and thank you to our co-hosts, Alex and Alex. Sounds like a TV show already.
1 and 2. Thank you for
Alright.
inviting me.
So,
Great to have you guys.
all right, we're good. I'm just going to wrap it up, say goodbye, and play our outro music.
Okay.
And join us next time. I believe Mike Posey is the next person interviewing.
Oh.
And also Fred Whitaker has already agreed.
Oh, Fred. Yeah.
Fred's
awesome.
So we've got. It seems the longer that we do this, the more guests we get, and
You're good at it, Mark. You're very good at it.
hopefully we'll have after next week we'll have a solid studio that you can just drive to us, something more professional than filling my truck up with gear.
Where's that going to be?
Hopefully Irvine.
Okay.
Somewhere in the near Bronco and Colbert area. Hopefully.
Okay.
So that's it. So thank you. Let me play my outro music and say goodbye to all you guys. So you guys take care.
Hey everybody, Hogs Twins here.
Hey, do you live in Irvine, Orange County, California? You better be listening to Mark Nugent.
Yeah, you better be watching Mark Nugent Live for his political updates regarding Orange County, the school board, the city, the county congressional races.
Yeah, he's gonna make Orange County great again.
Yeah.